Hey everyone, my name is Marcus Burnett from the GoDaddy Pro field marketing team, and I'm going to talk to you today about creating functional forms, including conditional fields. We'll talk a little bit about spam deterrence and look at what sorts of actions happen when a form is submitted, including auto replies, replies to emails to admins, and emails to submitters. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. Here we have a new WordPress site, and I'm using a form plugin called WS Form for this one. We're going to start by looking at creating a couple of different forms using conditional fields. So I'll click Add New, and here we have a number of templates, but we're just going to start with a blank one. For this first example, we're going to look at creating a form that collects some data for maybe an event. In this case, when someone signs up for the event, they need to select whether they would like to get a t-shirt or a tote bag, and based on which selection they choose, they'll have some different options to look at there. We'll get started by adding some normal contact info, first name, last name. Let's add an email address field, and then let's do a select drop-down that will allow them to choose between, let's call this choose a gift, and the options here will be t-shirt or tote bag. Once they choose one of those, let's go ahead and add, how about a radio? This will be called t-shirt sizes, and we'll go to radios, and in WS Form I can actually go to preset and choose a e-commerce sizes preset, and this will pull in different t-shirt sizes. So let's go ahead and save and close that. That's our t-shirt sizes. And let's see, for the tote bag, I think we'll have 3 different colors. So let's do another radio group and call that one tote bag colors. And we'll go to radios and we'll just type them in this time. Although we're not going to submit it, we'll just go ahead and add a submit button because that's what you would normally have. Now this is great, but let's hop back over to our form. I'll go over into conditional logic, and we'll add a condition, and we'll call this one show t-shirt sizes, and we'll say when choose a gift, the one that's selected is t-shirt, then we'll go to t-shirt sizes, set the visibility to visible, and then under the else you can see that it's already filled in, setting that field to hidden when t-shirt sizes is not selected. And now we can go back up here and we can actually clone this one and do the same thing for show tote bag colors. Now we still have this t-shirt sizes in here because we cloned it, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way, and let's save and close. Let's hop back over to the preview, and now you can see that our form is a bit shorter, and if we choose t-shirt, then we see that our t-shirt sizes show up, and if we choose tote bag, then we see that our tote bag colors show up. So that's one way to create some conditional fields that change the other fields within the form. So let's close that out and take a look at a different type of form that you might want to create, which will send emails to different people based on what is chosen in the form. And we'll start with a blank template again. Here we'll grab personal information this time, because that'll give us first name, last name, email, and some other things. We can come in here and we can decide to get rid of phone and website and date of birth. And what we'll do this time is we'll add another field, this time a radio field, and we'll call this one something like department. And the choices will be, we want to send an email to either the billing department or the sales department. And I will save and close this, but we now need to actually create the actions that happen. So let's hop into actions and create another action called send email to billing, and that will be sending an email, and in the email address you would fill out the billing email address, but that would be for billing, and then we'll add another one that is send to sales. In this case we have an email going to a general inbox, to a billing, and to a sales, so we're going to get rid of the regular one, but it's still going to send to billing and sales at the moment because we haven't set up our conditions. So let's go back to the conditional logic, and we'll add another one called send to billing. And in this case, when the department value is billing, then we want to run our send to email to billing action. And we'll do that, we'll run when the form is submitted. And if that one's not chosen, then we just won't run that action. And we'll just do it again for sales. So we'll save and close, and we can publish. And let's just preview the form. Right now, you're not going to see a whole lot. We'll have first name, last name, email address, and then the ability to choose between billing and sales. But nothing really happens because all of the action is happening in the background. So let's just add a text field and go back to our conditional actions, and we'll just hook into these and create a couple of additional actions. So when billing is chosen, then we also want this text field to have a value of will send to billing. And then we'll just get rid of the else. We don't need it to do anything else. Let's close that up and do the same for sales. And we'll click on preview. And now you can see we have an extra field down here. And when I choose billing, it updates to will send to billing, and sales will send to sales. And that allows us to at least get a little bit of a view of whether or not those conditions are working. Now, of course, you'd want to go ahead and get rid of those when you're ready to go live. Just remove those actions, and you can come back over to this text field and delete it as well. Next, I want to take a look at spam prevention. There are some third-party spam prevention options, and a couple of them, as far as WS Form is concerned, are listed here. And also probably there are some other ones that you've heard of, like reCAPTCHA, that are pretty popular. The other one that I wanted to quickly touch on is called the honeypot method, and that is just an easy checkbox here on WS Form. And the honeypot method essentially just adds an additional field to your form that's hidden that users won't see, but what it does is to allow the form to be submitted, that field needs to be blank. And when you have things like spam bots that come through and just fill in information into fields on your form, what'll happen is they'll fill that field in not knowing that it's a honeypot field, and that will keep the form from being able to be submitted. But it's definitely a great place to start. And then if that still is causing issues, then integrating with a third party is always recommended. The last thing I want to look at, which we've already talked about a little bit, is our actions. And we have save submission, show message, and send email were the original three. And those are kind of the standard ones for any form that I would say you should always have. Save submission saves the submission of the form to the database. Show message gives some visual feedback to the person submitting the form that the form was filled in and has been sent off to you. Of course, you're going to want to send an email to yourself, the web admin, to get that form information from the submitter. And then the other one that I would recommend is to always have send to form submitter, to let them know that the form has been successfully submitted to you and that they'll be hearing back within a certain amount of time. And so you can see here that it would go to the email field that they fill out. So let's go send email. And in this email address that it's going to, you just need to figure out which field it is. In this case, I'll click on field settings here, and there's a way to copy the field designation. This is field 36. So if I click on that and go back to actions, send to submitter, I can just paste in field 36 here, and that will send an email address to the email address that the submitter used. From there, of course, create a subject line that makes sense, thanking them for submitting the form, letting them know, using the main field area to let them know that you've received the form and that they'll hear back from you, and maybe including a phone number if they want to get in touch sooner. So I hope that helped understand a little bit more on creating some functional forms using conditional fields, spam deterrent methods, and also using form actions to send emails and save the submissions to the database.